All right, today we're going to dive into a really profound piece of Hindi literature. It's Kanta Bharti's novel Ret Ki Machhli. Now, that translates to The Fish of the Sand. And trust me, that title, it's the key to unlocking the entire story. I mean, think about it. A fish in the sand? It's this impossible image, right? It's a total paradox that just grabs you and makes you wonder, what on earth does that mean? You've got this creature that belongs in the water, completely stranded in a huge, dry desert. And that one single image, that's what sets the whole tone for everything that's about to unfold. And get this, before you even get to chapter 1, the book's dedication tells you so much. It says, "To that sand which does not make a home." It's not dedicated to a person or some grand idea. Nope, it's dedicated to the hostile environment itself. The sand that literally can't sustain anything, that can't build a home. So right from the get-go, we know this is a story about a world that is just fundamentally unable to nurture life. So who is this fish? Well, the whole story is told through the eyes of a woman who feels completely and utterly out of place. I mean, we're talking suffocatingly out of place. In her own life, her own home, even in her own skin. And that metaphor, the fish of the sand, that's not just a clever title. It defines her entire existence. She's not just, a little uncomfortable. She is a being that is fundamentally, completely at odds with her surroundings. Just imagine it. Every single moment is a struggle just to breathe in an element that has zero oxygen for you. You really see this in her internal monologue. She says, "On which journey and to where I was going, I had no idea." And that just hits you, right? It's not just about not knowing where she's going. It's deeper. She doesn't even understand the journey she's on. It's like she's being pulled along by some invisible tide that's not hers, totally adrift in a world that feels completely foreign. Okay, so let's talk about the sand. What exactly is this suffocating sand? This is where the central conflict of the story really gets built. Because you see, the sand isn't some abstract idea. It's made up of the very people in her life. Her entire life is basically this desert landscape of really tough relationships. You have her husband, Shobhan, who's all about that emotional distance and traditional expectations. Then there's Kuntal, an intellectual peer who offers this glimmer of a real connection. But it's an unfulfilled promise. And then you've got Meenal, who's like this friend/rival, a living mirror of a different life she could have had. Every single one of these relationships, every interaction is like another grain of sand, another moment of misunderstanding, social pressure, or just plain emotional neglect. So you see, the sand isn't just one thing. It's not as simple as a bad marriage or one tricky friendship. It's the whole shebang. It is the crushing, collective weight of her entire world, just pressing it on her from every single side. But here's the thing. Even in the driest desert, a living creature is going to search for water, right? It's instinct. And that's what this novel is also about. It's not just a story of suffocation. It's about that raw instinct to survive, that desperate search to find even a single drop of relief. So all through the story, you see her just grasping at these tiny, fleeting moments of hope. It could be an intellectual connection, a yearning for real love, a little flash of personal rebellion. These aren't some grand, elaborate escape plans. They're small, almost desperate attempts to just find a little bit of moisture in the bone-dry air. And this one quote just illustrates it so perfectly. She says, "Gathering courage, I quietly got up from beside Shobhan and went inside." Think about that. Gathering courage. It takes real courage for her, not to have a big fight, but just to quietly get up and leave a tense situation. These small acts, choosing a moment of peace for herself, that's her way of finding those precious, tiny drops of water in this vast desert. And all of this leads us to the novel's really profound central message. What does it actually mean to survive when you literally can't escape your circumstances? Which brings us to the big question, doesn't it? After all of this, after all the struggle, does the fish ever escape the sand? Does she ever find her ocean? And the answer the novel gives? Well, that's what makes this story so incredibly powerful and so real. The book suggests that the ultimate victory isn't about escaping at all. It's about the profound, painful, and resilient act of just existing. This is no simple fairy tale where the hero wins in the end. It's a deep, honest look at human endurance. The focus shifts from trying to change your world to just surviving it. Let's really break that down because it's a huge idea. Escape, that's about finding a whole new environment. But existence, that's about learning to breathe in the hostile one you're already in. Escape is a story of changing your circumstances. Existence is the much, much harder story of changing yourself to be able to withstand them. So this isn't a story about finding an oasis. It's about the incredible dignity you can find in the struggle itself, that raw, sheer will to just keep breathing, even in the dust. So, at the end of the day, Ret Ki Machhli kind of holds up a mirror to all of us. It asks a pretty tough question. What is the desert in our own lives? And how do we find the strength to exist within it? It really leaves you thinking about the sand we all have to navigate. The pressures, the expectations, those difficult relationships. And it makes you reflect on the incredible and often quiet strength it takes just to be.